Okay, so I'm going to go over your rotations and speed homework. Number 1 says the circumference of a car wheel is 30 inches. It rotates once per second. How far does it travel in 1 minute? And again, if you organize this all into a table, it makes it significantly easier to piece through what's happening. So we talked in class about looking at the rotation. So how far does it rotate? What distance does it go? And in what time? Circumference of a car wheel is 30 inches. Circumference tells you how far the car goes when it rotates once. I also know that it rotates once per second, so I can also put 1 second in that same row. How far does it travel in 1 minute? We had a bunch of conversions that we looked at today. You should still have them. 1 second. If I'm looking for a minute, I know that there are 60 seconds in a minute. So now I'm looking for how far it travels. So I'm looking for this X value. And in terms of scale factors, I can look at here and say, well, I'm multiplying by 60. So then what times 60 here? I have that X is equal to 1,800 inches. How far does the same car travel in 1 hour? So let's change colors here to make it easier. So I'm going to extend the table down to continue here. I'm looking for how far it travels in 1 hour. Again, I'm in terms of seconds. So I know that there are 3,600 seconds in an hour. Again, because this is all coming from what we wrote down, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I'll write it up here. So in class, we looked at 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And then 1 hour is also 3,600 seconds. We looked at distance conversions where 1 mile was equal to 5,280 feet. We looked at 1 foot equaling 12 inches. And then we looked at 1 mile equaling 63,360 inches. So again, since I'm talking about 1 hour, I'm in terms of seconds here. I pour in my scale factor, 1 hour is 3,600 seconds, which is where I'm getting that. I need to look at how far it travels. So I, again, am looking for this. So again, what's my scale factor? Well, I can really pick anything in the table. I'm looking here. So 1 second up to 3,600 seconds is to multiply it by 3,600. So that means I'm going to take that 30-inch distance and do the same thing, multiply it by 3,600. And see what we get. So 30 times 3,600, 108,000 inches in an hour. Question number 3, the diameter of a car wheel is 25 inches. If the car wheel rotates 3 times per second, how far does it travel in 1 minute? And again, there is a lot of information flying around there, but if we take the time to organize it all into a table, it might become easier to wrap our heads around. So we're going to do our 3-column table. We have rotate, distance, and time. And then let's just read through again to see what we know. Diameter of a car wheel is 25 inches. Distance is the same thing as circumference. So the first thing we want to do is calculate our circumference, which is pi times the diameter. So our circumference here is 78.5 inches. And again, that tells us that in 1 rotation, it's going to go 78.5 inches. The car wheel rotates 3 times per second. So if I rotate 3 times, my scale factor here is to multiply it by 3. So I can multiply by 3 here to get 235.5 inches, and that's for 1 second. How far does it travel in 1 minute? That's 60 seconds. Scale factor here is times 60. So scale factor here is times 60. Oops, 235.5 times 60, 14,130. So that's my final answer, 14,130 inches. How far does it travel in 1 hour? Again, we're going to go through that same thing. 60 seconds in a minute. So if I'm in seconds, I have 3,600 seconds here times 3,600. So then if I multiply by the same thing here, times 3,600, 78.5 times 3,600 gives me 282,600 inches. A little different than what we did in class, because the ones in class asked us how many miles per hour. This one isn't doing that. This is just saying how far does it travel in 1 hour, so I don't have to worry about scaling that back down. Question number 5, the radius of a car wheel is 2 feet. If the wheel rotates once per second, how far does it travel in a minute? Again, so much flying around. Make your table. Rotations, distance, time. Write out what we know. The radius is 2 feet. So that means my diameter is 4 feet. So that means my circumference is pi times 4. So my circumference is 12.56. And again, circumference is in one rotation. How far do you travel? It's rotating once per second, so I can also put that 1 down here. Keep in mind, I couldn't do that above because it rotated 3 times per second. So 1 second, I had to scale up by 3. This is just 1 time per second. How far does it travel in a minute? Again, keep in mind what our unit is. So that's seconds. So I have 60 seconds. My scale factor is to multiply by 60. So if I multiply this by 60, 12.56 times 60, we get 753.6. And then to finish it out, how far does it travel in an hour? I'm going to keep extending that table down. Seconds, there are 3,600 seconds in an hour. So my scale factor is times 3,600. So then I can use that same scale factor times 3,600. 12.56 times 3,600. 45,216. So we have 45,216 inches. And again, it's not asking us for miles, it's just asking us for inches. And as I said, you're skipping number 7.